My name's GuyKesTV. I've been a professional bike and kit tester for nearly 25 years, and today the bike I am unboxing I'm proper looking forward to, not only because for the introductory bike from this range, it was one of the most popular bikes on my channel in terms of views on the Tech Talk and the Live Ride review, but also because I reckon this is going to be right up my Strasse, because this is the brand new super light version of Canyon's Neuron 9 mountain bike. So this is the Canyon CF SLX 9 Limited, which means it gets the new SLX spec frame set, which uses a same moulds as the standard Neuron, but with a lighter, stiffer carbon fibre construction. Otherwise, same geometry, same 130mm travel, both ends, and this version, even though it's called the SLX, actually comes with a full Shimano XTR brake and drivetrain, apart from... Look, it's light, isn't it? Apart from super fancy lightweight Next SL cranks. So obviously all Canyons come in a box because they're supplied direct. So the box is out of the way now, and but you know, very neatly wrapped by the guys at Canyon UK. So rather than you watching me floundering about with this or playing it like a guitar as I currently am, I'm just going to pop it in the work stand and then we'll do a detailed tech talk round on it. So, I'm going to talk through some details as I finish putting the bike together. May as well start with what we're dealing with here. Up at the head end, you've got a Canyon V12 stem, 60mm long, and then this H23 low-rise handlebar. So, nice low weight carbon handlebar, 760mm wide, so you know, not as wide as a full enduro trail bar, but still, you know, decent leverage for a sort of XC bar. So very much like the Neuron, it kind of sits in that very lightweight fast trail borderline XC category. I mean, it is a 130mm bike, so front and rear, which means you're not getting a Fox 34 step cast because they only go up to 120mm in travel, and like I say, 130mm, so slightly heavier 34 fork, but obviously, you know, 10mm travel more. And it's, you know, it's a stiffer chassis as well. So, well, let's get these beautiful super light DT Swiss wheels on it. I have to say, these DT Swiss XMC 1200s, some of my absolute favourite wheels. I'm lucky enough to have a set as my kind of Sunday special when I really want to go fast wheels. So it's awesome to have them fitted as standard. On this bike. That's a, you know, that's a really impressive bit of specking by Canyon there. And sorry, just fitting here is the Fox transfer dropper post. You can see Kashima dropper post to match the factory Kashima finish on the 34 fork up front, and it's a fit 4 as you'd expect. So you've got that damping adjustment in there. You've got your sort of a climb switch, and then a kind of a more sporty set of fork tunes. I mean, up until now, to be fair, that's the only option you've had in the 34. But as of the release of the 2021 fork models, or I guess 2020, I don't know what they've called them anyway, the latest fork models from Fox, you can now get a Grip 2 damper. But because this is, you know, designed as a hard driving... Oh, and this... Hang on, I've got it wedged now, but... I'm going to show you, this is the handy torque wrench that Canyon supply with all their bikes. Because like I say, I mean, they do come direct to you in a box, and you do have to pay a bit extra for that box. I think the box itself is just under 19 quid, yeah, 18.99, and then carriage to the UK is, I think, 32.99. So basically, just shy of 50 quid is what you're adding to this bike. But given that you're getting this complete XTR Fox factory spec for even delivered, what, 650 roughly, with a few pence left, pounds, and pretty much an identical spec on the Pivot I unboxed the other week was 9 grand, you're still getting a tremendous deal here with the Canyon. And I mean, like I said, I'll come up close and show you some of the detail on the frame, but you've got this SLX carbon fibre build. You've still got two different bottle mounts there on the down tube, so you can have it low or high depending on the bottle size you're using. You're still getting a neat. Tell you what, I'll bring the camera in closer so I can actually talk through the details on it. But 130mm travel front and rear. Just to finish off on the Fox talk through, you've got this Fox Float DPS shock, custom tune on it. From what I remember on the Neuron, it was actually quite a firm sort of pedal tune on it, but once you opened it up, very, very open. So again, kind of halfway between that XE and halfway between Trail. So not sure if they've done anything different with the shock tune on that. So while you're looking at the whole bike, let's talk about geometry. It's a 67.5 degree head angle, 74.5 degree seat angle. So again, very much in that kind of, if it was a progressive trail bike, it would kind of be a generation back. I mean, this is what the Tallboy used to be roughly in numbers, and it's things like, it's what the Scott Spark is. But in terms of XC, it's still more, it's still more relaxed and stable. So again, reach is relatively short though. Reach on this bike 453. So, and also because you've got that long seat tube there, 480mm seat tube, you're going to struggle to size up. I'd struggle to go to an extra large because it means my saddle I wouldn't have the saddle height potential. So it is relatively short, but again, not crazy short, certainly not stumpy, but a more conventional geometry for sort of touring and racing and just fast XC, covering ground fast rather than going absolutely raving crazy on the descents. Anyway, I'm going to come over and grab the camera now and we'll go through some up-close details because there really is some nice detailing work to talk about on this Neuron. And from the front again, you've got these neat ergon grips, little bit of sort of ergonomic profiling on them. I actually really like those grips. They come standard on the Norco Optic, but I've also started using them as kind of a default grip on some of my test bikes. XTR shifter, so these really nice little rubber trigger paddles there, just raise that spec a little bit above XT. XTR brakes, mixed. I have a mixed relationship with XTR, let's say, but they are a super light and hopefully responsive and predictable brake this time around. Like I say, 60mm stem and it's a 760mm. Get out my own shadow there. It's a 760mm Canyon H23 bar. So good mixed cockpit there in terms of the kind of the fast trail purpose of this bike. And then you've got this little detail here. I mean, it's similar to Trek's knock block. It just stops the handlebar from swinging around. And, well, I mean, there's a lot of clearance, to be fair, on the down tube. So, and on the fork. So, to be honest, I'm not quite sure why that's there on this model, because the clearance problems don't seem to be an issue. Unless you flip the stem upside down. But anyway, it's there, and if you don't want it, you can just unbolt it and take it off. That'll save you a few grams. As you can see, it's a mix of kind of gloss upper coat. It's what they use on a lot of their bikes. It's part of their design language. But if you look at the down tube here, you can see some of the unidirectional carbon peeping through. So again, they've saved weight on this frame by keeping sort of paint and decoration to an absolute minimum. Because, I mean, painting a frame is a heavy business. It's full can of paint. It's about 300 grams worth of paint goes on a frame. But then there are some nice little aesthetic touches that aren't actually functional, like these little guards here on the outside. They are just that. You can see the actual functional part of the linkage is there. So that's just a cover to give you these really sleek lines from the shock through into the rear seat stay. And so, it's quite nice to see someone doing something that's just kind of deliberate prettiness sake. Little neat covers over the bearings. As you can see, the shock's under the top tube, so you've got loads of room for a full-size bottle, even on the smaller bikes. It's a threaded bottom bracket, so, that's a nice point of view from longevity. You've got this super light Next SL crank. Then that main pivot cover there, you can actually switch that out to fit a front mech mount on there. Not that I've seen it done, but again, it's just, it just kind of shows that Canyon think about things really neatly like that. And so, you get some people trying to palm them off as kind of this sort of, they're direct sell, they're a bit budget, they cut corners. Absolutely not. I'd say their build quality is some of the best around. Coming down the chainstay, again, really thick chain protector there. massive chainstays here. I mean, they're asymmetric and it's relatively narrow at the seat tube there, but so we'll have to see how that plays out in terms of pedalling stiffness when I start cranking on these next cranks. But then chainstay comes up to a pivot there. So although it looks like a seat stay pivot, it's actually effectively a chainstay pivot still, because the rear pivot is between the dropout and the main pivot. That's what I'm trying to get hold of through. So yeah, basically it's it's your classic FSR link. They haven't gone for a flex stay or anything on the rear. This is a pucker, fully functional, all pivots trail bike. On the back you've got XTR and it's running a 1051 cassette, so just slightly wider than Eagle. The one thing I am surprised about is that they've only fitted a 32 tooth ring, because this is a light and fast bike, and I'm yeah, I guess there's a lot of German riders do marathon races where you're winching up epic climbs forever. But personally, I'd want a bit more top end than that. But, good luck me going and getting that. That's should we say. But I think there are riders who are going to be drawn to this bike who might want a bigger gear. And, there's clearance for it. Even with these God, they are huge, those chainstays. Even with those massive chainstays there, there's plenty of, room behind the chainring to get another couple of teeth onto that. Again, you've got protection there for this cable routing that runs underneath. And the interesting thing is here, Canyon actually don't use internal cable routing as such. They just put this bolted plate all the way along the underside. So it means they don't have to drill holes in the main frame, but also it makes it really, really easy to service, because you just pull that off and the cables, you've got full lengths of cable outer under the inside. So again, just a neat practical touch on the bike there. Already talked about my love affair with these DT Swiss XMC 1200 30mm wheels, but also they've put Maxxis Forecaster tyres on. Again, massive personal favourite of mine. Triple compound, max speed, exo protection, so trail carcass, but still a really light tyre and in a fast rolling compound. And this tread pattern just works really, really well for fast UK trail riding. And you've got them front and rear. And again, still reasonable mudroom there around those tyres. I mean, you'd probably get a 2.4 in there if you wanted to, maybe even a 2.5 in some tyre designs. And I've just flipped it around here to talk about some more details on this bike. It's a 180mm rear rotor, which again, nice to have that extra leverage in there. You've got this Quixel cam to loosen the rear axle, and then it just pops back in there like that. So that's a really neat system. And also good to see that Jacket Canyon has very kindly removed the finned XDR pads, which it comes with as standard, and actually fitted non-finned ones, which hopefully means it won't have that hideous rattle issue that I had on the Pivot Switchblade and the Yeti SB130. And going back along here, you can, it's a good shot showing the showing that unidirectional carbon showing through under the paint. So again, super light frame treatment. I mean, this whole bike this large comes in at 12.2 kilos. So not massive, certainly very light for a 130mm travel trail bike. Still a fair way off the Canyon Lux, which is, the pure race bike campaigned brutally successfully by Mathieu van der Poel and Pauline Amprevot on the World Cup scene, and a bunch of other people as well. So I'll put up a link to that bike, the live ride review on that, and the Tech Talk round, and also the live ride review and the Tech Talk round on the standard Neuron CF. So now it's time to fit me egg beaters, check the sag and suspension settings, get them into a ballpark. I seem to remember it was a pretty easy bike to set up last time. And then strap on my GoPro and go and get some first impressions on this bike. Like I say, I've ridden the standard framed Neuron CF, and so I kind of know where I'm going with this. It's just a really, really well balanced, light and naturally rapid kind of all-rounder. But I'm really interested to see what that lighter weight and potentially stiffer carbon layup will do to the ride of this SLX. So I'll be putting those first ride impressions on Patreon with a load of other exclusive early edits and behind the scenes stuff that you get if you subscribe for a small monthly fee. and you can join these fantastic people scrolling up there to get those bonuses. Otherwise, please subscribe to this channel if you haven't, and click for notifications so you will see the next video coming up when I've filmed it. Hope you've enjoyed watching this. I've been GuyKesTV on GuyKesTV, talking about the Neuron CF SLX 9 Limited from Canyon.